What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel, and today I wanted to talk about some of the issues that I have with the new specialist system in Battlefield 2042, as even though I have really enjoyed the beta so far, the specialist system has been slightly underwhelming for me personally. Now, I want to start the video by saying that this isn't just meant to be me having a whinge and crying about the game. Like I said, I've loved the beta overall, and when I make videos like this that could be a little bit more negative, I guess, it is always just constructive criticism for the devs and not just having a sook for the sake of having a sook. I want the game to be the best that it can be, and with the game not being completely finished yet, I thought I'd just critique the specialist system and I guess provide a few ideas that I personally think could improve it, so just keep that in mind throughout the video. Before we get into it, if you guys are new to the channel and you end up enjoying the video, then do consider subscribing and turning on those notifications so that you don't miss out on any upcoming Battlefield 2042 content. But with that being said, let's get stuck right into it. So ever since the specialist system was announced way back at the initial reveal for the game, I have actually been really excited to get my hands on it, and for the most part I've considered it to be a really good idea, at least on paper anyway. As much as I've always loved the class system in Battlefield, the specialist system did sound like just an improved iteration of that system, sort of taking the best parts of the class system while also opening it up so that we can actually use any weapon, and overall I just thought it sounded great. Now, upon actually getting my hands on it, I'll be honest, I am eating my words, as I really haven't enjoyed it as much as I thought I would, and although it's hardly game breaking, I definitely would love to see some changes made in order for it to feel a little bit more like Battlefield. The class system made it so that you actually had a purpose. All of the items you used, from your weapons, your gadgets, your grenades, they were all related to the way that the class was meant to be played, and although it did sometimes suck having to use a specific set of weapons for a specific class, it did give you an overall goal or playstyle. If you chose to play as a medic, your job was clearly to heal and revive teammates. If you were assault, at least in Battlefield 5, your job was to take out vehicles and keep your teammates safe. Well, with the new specialist system, it seems as though that sort of identity that you get from the class you choose is all but gone, as now you can essentially just be a jack of all trades, combining literally anything in the game with anything else in the game, with the only static item being your specialist gadget and a single specialist trait. I said this in a previous video, but when I think of a specialist, I think of someone who specializes in one area and who excels in that area. However, in this game, it is essentially the exact opposite. In this clip here, you can see that I've just revived a downed teammate as I'm playing as Maria Falk, and then after moving towards another flag, I end up taking out an enemy vehicle with the rocket launcher, and that is literally the first time that I've ever been able to do that in a Battlefield title, other than back in the day when you could actually just switch classes with a downed teammate, but that's obviously a little bit different. It does feel as though we've all just sort of become jack of all trades in a way. You can essentially just choose any specialist and do anything that you want throughout the game. Obviously, each character does still have their specialties and traits, and they do still have some small differences for sure, but those specialty gadgets alone didn't really feel like they were prominent or important enough, and I think for me personally, that is where the issue within the system lies. Maybe I'm just naive, but I personally think the easiest fix for this would be for them to lock certain gadgets behind certain classes, just like they have with previous titles, while letting us use whichever weapon we want, and in my opinion that would be sort of the best of both worlds, giving us some sort of class structure that we all know and love, while still opening the game up a little bit by allowing medics to use snipers and recons to use SMGs, rather than forcing weapons for specific classes. We all know that each specialist does still technically come under a specific class. For example, Casper is still technically a recon specialist, McKay is technically an assault specialist, and so that sort of like skeleton of the class system is still there. I just don't think it is being used as well as it could be. For example, they could lock the medic crates to the support class, which is the class that Maria Falk falls under. They could lock the anti-vehicle weapons to either the engineer or assault class, or even both if they wanted, meaning that only McKay or Boris, or whichever other specialist we end up getting in those classes, of course, could use those gadgets. Now, that would still allow multiple specialists to use the same gadgets too, so it's not like Falk is the only one that can use medic crates. Any of the other support specialists could too, meaning there is still sort of that level of freedom that the devs do seem to be going for, but it is still somewhat tied to an overall class system that just provides a little bit more structure and therefore a little bit more of a reason to choose each character. The way that it currently is, it just feels as though there's really no reason to choose any character over the other. I probably played all four equally as much as the next one, and at no point did I feel like, oh yeah, this is the specialist for me. I honestly could not tell you which games I was using which specialist, because 90% of the work was done with my weapon, and probably 8 to 9% of the work was done with my gadgets that I can obviously just pick and choose from, leaving essentially 1% of the player's identity to their actual specialty gadgets. I think the idea on paper is fantastic. Honestly, when you look at a game like Apex or Overwatch, there are reasons for picking each hero or legend, and the character you choose essentially defines how you play, but in a good way, rather than just like forcing you to play that way. You don't choose your legend in Apex and then get forced to play that way. You choose your legend because their playstyle suits how you want to play the game, pretty much buying into your strengths and enhancing the areas of your game that you want to focus on. In Battlefield 2042, it honestly just feels like I'm choosing a loadout like I do in Call of Duty, picking and choosing literally anything that I want to, and then just sort of heading out there to get kills rather than having an objective to complete like in previous games, where I was playing as a medic to heal teammates or playing assault to keep enemy tanks away from my teammates. Those are just my thoughts on the system overall. Like I said earlier, I don't think it's the end of the world. If it never changes, then so be it. I think I'll still enjoy the game for a very long time, but I really do just hope that the community speaks out if they do feel the same as I do anyway, and hopefully there can just be some adjustments made after launch in order to give each specialist a little bit more of a reason to choose them when you play. I'm keen to hear what you guys think though, so be sure to leave your thoughts down in the comments whether you agree or disagree with what I said. I'm very interested to see whether I'm kind of alone on this or whether it is a common theme in the community, and if it is a common theme then we can all start to speak out about it, or if it's not then I guess I'll just suck it up and get used to it, because like I said, the game overall is still a lot of fun for me, and so it is hardly the end of the world either way. That is going to do it for this one though guys. If you enjoyed the video then be sure to leave a like down below, and if you are new then consider subscribing to the channel with those notifications on. If you guys want to support the content that I make here on YouTube then do consider becoming a channel member. But with that being said, thank you all very much for watching. You guys have a great day and I'll see you all out there on the battlefield.